This is going to be Module 7, Lesson 1. Understand and express and compare percent ratios. If you want to do this in your book, you will find it on page 206, or you can choose to do it online. So let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, Eleanor, Tilly, and Caleb earn money training dogs to surf. For every dollar they earn, Caleb gets 20 cents, Tilly gets 30 cents, and Eleanor gets 50 cents. Now, before we get too much further into the problem, here's our first vocabulary word. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Because if you think about it, when you get a test, you try to get out of 100. So percents are always going to be out of 100. And they're followed with this sign right here, which is the percent sign. Okay, we're going to match the ratio that shows how much each trainer earns from a dollar. Now, set up above that Caleb gets 20 cents. So that means Caleb gets 20 out of 100 because there are 100 cents in a dollar. Eleanor gets 50 cents. Sorry, Eleanor, yeah, she gets 50 cents, and Tilly gets 30 cents. Let's check it out. And I got all that information from this right up here. It tells me that. B. Caleb's portion of each dollar earned is already shaded in the 10 by 10 grid shown in the next part. So this right here is Caleb's portion because Caleb got 20 cents. How much boxes does it need to shade to represent Tilly's? Tilly got 30 cents, so we should be doing 30 boxes because she got 30 out of 100. So to shade hers in, we would be doing, let me make it a little thicker so it's a little easier. This is 30 boxes right here. My coloring is not perfect, and yours does not have to be perfect either. But this is 10, 20, 30. Let's look at C. A percent is a part to whole ratio with a whole of 100. You can write 25% as 25 to 100 or 25 over 100. Select the correct numbers to complete the sentence. Caleb gets 20 cents from every dollar, which is 100 cents. The ratio of his earnings is 20 over 100, which is 20%. Any number over 100, that's going to be your percent. Tilly gets 30 cents from every dollar. The ratio of her earnings is 30 over 100, which is 30%. Percent. Anytime a number is over 100, that is the percent. So a ratio to 100 is the same as a percent. Anytime a number is on top of 100, that's going to be the percent. So like on a test, if you got 90 out of 100, you scored a 90%. What does the unshaded part of the grid represent? So we had 20 shaded, then 30 shaded, so that's 50 shaded. And if it's a grid with 100, 50 are shaded, 100 minus 50 is 50. That's going to represent Eleanor's earnings because the unshaded part would be Eleanor's because she got 50 cents per dollar. Okay, let's look at this next question. We're on question number 2, which is if you're in the book, you're on page 207. A survey says that 13 out of 20 people have pets. Write this ratio as a percent. So 13, 20. To get it to 40, 20 times 2 is 40. So 13 times 2 is 26. Now if we're going to go to the third one, 13 times 3 is 39. 20 times 3 is 60. We're going to go to the fourth one. 13 times 4 is 52. And 20 times 4 is 80. To get to the last one, we're going to be multiplying by 5. 13 times 5 is 65. And 20 times 5 is 100. So when we're at 100, there's 65 people who have pets. We're going to use the table that we just filled in to determine the percent of people who own pets. What is 13/20th as a percent? Select the correct numbers to represent. The percent of people who own pets is 65, because if I would have exited out this table, we had 65 and 100 here. Anytime we have a number out of 100, that is going to be our percent. So 65%, because it is equivalent to 65 to 100. So 65 people out of 100 who have pets. A way that you can do it without building a table is using equivalent ratios. So you take the initial fraction of 13/20, and I know I need to get it to 100 because percents are out of 100. To get from 20 to 100, I multiply by 5, so I'm going to do the same thing on top. 20 times 5 is 100. 13 times 5 is 65. And I'm going to be showing you more of this way because you don't have to divide that way. You could also do 13 divided by 20 and then move your decimal 2 times. And I'll be showing that, so don't you worry. Okay. We're on to number 3 about pies. So a pie crust right here has 1 cup of sugar and 4 cups of flour. A recipe for pie crust includes the ingredients shown. Those are the ones we just went over. Find the ratio of sugar to flour. So there's 1 cup sugar, 4 cups flour. So 1 to 4. The fraction 1/4 represents the ratio of sugar to flour. By dividing the numerator by the denominator, the ratio can be written as the decimal 0.25. If I take 1 divided by 4, I get 0.25. Some of you already knew that the decimal form of 1/4 was 0.25, and that way, if you have that memorized, you don't have to divide that out. What is the decimal percent written as a fraction? How can you find the percent? So the decimal 0.25 is equal to 25 hundredths, which can be written as 25/100 or 25%. Another way that you can think about this is when you switch a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal 2 times to the right. So I go 1, 2, and I get 25. That represents multiplying by 100. Okay, if you're in your book, we're on to page 208. So this is John's test, and this is Vince's. I guess it's a quiz, not a test. And this is what Vince got. One tells you how many you got out of 25, and the other gives you the percent. And we're trying to figure out who received the higher score. And I can't really they're written 2 different ways, so we need to convert them both to the same form. You either convert them both to fractions with a common denominator, or you convert them both to percents. So or we could do that. We just have to have them converted all the same way. Does not matter which way you do it. Whichever way is easiest for you is good to go. So many test scores are written as percents. Use the double number line to convert John's score to a percent. John's score is a ratio with a whole of 25. So the 25 is placed with the 100% on the double number line. Right here, we get 100%. How can you convert John's score to percent using a number line? Well, John got 20 out of 25. So on the top, it tells we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. If you scored 25 out of 25, that would be 100%. But he only scored 20, so he got 80%. So we have to figure out which one we are going to choose here. So we're going to mark 20 on the top number line and 80% on the bottom. Find John's score on the number line and determine the equivalent percentage on the bottom, and that would be 80%. To find 20 over 25, write it as a percent. Find an equivalent fraction with the same ratio and a denominator of 100. Our denominator needs to be 100 because we are trying to find a percent, and percents are always out of 100. So 20 over 25. To get 25 to 100, multiply by 4, and I'm going to do the same thing on top. So 20 times 4 is 80, so we get 80 over 100, which is 80%. Who received the higher score then? So when we worked this out, we said John got, instead of 20 out of 25, that means 80%, and Vince got an 82.5, so Vince has the higher score. Just like that, and we're done with that section.